Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Coming to Resolution. I hope you're having a good day. Um, by the time this is posted, I will have made a Discord, and the link will be in the description if you'd like to be a part of that, because I would genuinely like to talk to you guys. Whoever watches, I would really like to get updates on what's going on in your mental health journeys and, so on and so forth. I would really like to do that. Today, I want to talk about the eye for an eye mindset. Like, you did this to me, so I'm going to do this to you kind of thing. I have been the person who is very vindictive in the sense that, like, if I get wronged, then I have to do something worse or, whatever the case is to feel better about the situation, to make them feel whatever it is I was feeling. I honestly don't believe that that's worth it. Nowadays, I don't believe that it's worth doing the eye for an eye thing. I don't believe that mindset takes us anywhere. Having done it, and I did it for a long time, I really honestly think that we would benefit from just moving the fuck on. Situation happened. There's nothing you can do to change it at this point. It's already happened, So I don't truly believe that vindictive, oh, I'm gonna get you back, does anything for us. I don't think it brings anything beneficial. I think if anything, it makes situations worse. Actually, I can tell you from experience, it makes things worse. While it's easier said than done, I honestly think that it's better to feel whatever it is you're feeling and learn and heal from the situation, as opposed to, I'm gonna fucking get you back. You know what I mean? Because I have been that person. I've had friends who were that way. I've had all kinds of situations where I've seen that vindictiveness and that I'm gonna get you back, I'm gonna hurt you kind of thing, and I don't see it as beneficial. I don't see that kind of mindset bringing anything positive to your life. I think, if anything, that kind of mindset gives you an excuse to hold a grudge. And when you are holding a grudge, you're holding on to that negative emotion towards whatever situation. I think, if anything, that is really bad for you mentally. I honestly think that whenever we're holding on to stuff like that, it almost turns us into a person that most of us don't want to be. I have been that person, and I was a very angry person. So if somebody said something to me that was fucked up, like, I I went I crossed lines, I made people really regret how they came at me just from what I said. I got really good at it, and that's not a skill that I think is necessary to have. I suppose it's good to have a sort of fuck you energy whenever it comes to certain things. Like, if someone tells you, "Oh, well, you can't do this, you can't amount to this," whatever the case is. When it comes to stuff like that, I absolutely believe that fuck you energy can serve you a lot, because that's like motivation, and I'm gonna fucking show you that I can do this kind of thing. You know what I mean? That I think that's helpful. I don't believe that going out of your way for a revenge story does anything. I Because I've been in situations where I have done that thing, and in turn, it's instead of ending the situation like what I wanted to happen, it only escalated. It just made things worse. There were more people involved, or the situation turned into something it shouldn't have. Whatever the case is, I truly believe that just because you're capable doesn't mean that you should be doing it. Like, you get in an argument, right? We can say it's with your person, and you're just spitting venom at each other. You're saying really hurtful things because you're heated in the moment, and whenever we get attacked like that, everybody just jumps on the defensive mode. And while I absolutely understand, and it's really hard not to do that, especially if you're getting talked down to, or if you're just straight up getting insulted by your person, I think it's really hard not to jump into that defensive mode. But I think it's also really important not to respond with more venom, you know? At least if it's a situation where you really value this relationship and you really want it to go somewhere, I don't believe that helps anything. In a situation like that, I truly believe that it's important to take a step back. Like, if you have to straight up leave the house, just be like, I need to step away for a minute because I'm getting angry, and I don't want to talk to you in the way that I talk to people whenever I get angry, or I don't want to lash out, or whatever it is. And fucking leave. Go to the gas station or run to the store and get both of you something, whatever it is. Do something like that and just give each other the space to calm down a bit. And then whenever you come back, hopefully you can just have a conversation and communicate effectively. Now, when it comes to friends, oh man. So I spoke about a situation in my Be the Bad Guy video that happened to me a couple years ago, and I felt like I went to war with these people for weeks, but all that situation did was escalate and escalate until I did that thing where I got vindictive, and I started spitting venom and spitting facts at people in the same breath, and my goal whenever I get in that mode is I'm going to absolutely destroy you while I make you know what the facts actually are. And that didn't do me any good. What I honestly should have done was just laid the facts out and fucking left it at that. But I didn't do that. While it's really hard not to do this, I think it's honestly really good to just, if you feel the need to defend yourself, lay out the facts. Lay the facts out for what actually happened. If they choose to believe you, great. If they don't, it is what it is. They weren't meant to be in your life if they're going to leave your life for a situation that doesn't even fucking matter. Now, that being said, I am not excluding very traumatic events that can happen in groups of friends like this, because some of these situations can be very bad. Some of these situations can turn into things that we're not going to talk about on YouTube. And for those kinds of situations, I don't really have a whole lot for that, because if it's that bad, then there's not a whole lot you really can do, except try to learn what you can do to prevent it from happening again and try to move on. But we're talking about just dumb shit like mean girl fucking high school drama bullshit, right? And since we're talking about these kinds of really dumb situations, because that's the most common one, when it comes to those kinds of situations, I again lay out the facts. Leave your emotions and how something made you feel out of it if they're not going to listen to you to begin with. Because if they're not listening to you, then your feelings don't fucking matter. to that person. I would strongly recommend you vent to someone about it if you need to do that, or write it down, or something, just to get the thoughts out. But when it comes to that situation, letting your feelings be known isn't going to benefit you, for the simple fact they're not listening. They're in attack mode and they don't give a fuck how you feel. You know what I mean? As shitty as that is, that's how it goes. It does you no good to sit there and go back and forth over and over with somebody who's not going to listen to you to begin with. It also does you no good to have that kind of thought process, like, I'm going to do this to you because you made me feel like this. You know what I mean? When it comes to that kind of mindset, that's a very, I don't want to say dangerous, but it can be. It can be dangerous. But I think that's more of something that's like, I guess, petty and doesn't benefit anybody. Because again, I have been that vindictive, I'm going to get you back kind of person. And every single time that I did something that I felt like was going to be the same level or worse, it brought me no favors at all. I used to be a really shitty person. And that's how I know that's how I know all of this, is I've either done it or I've seen it. And if I'm talking about it, I have the knowledge because I did it. I've been a lot of negative types of people. That's why I'm a really big advocate for fucking listening to the people who have already done it. Because I used to not do that. I used to not listen to the people who have lived a certain way or have done certain things. And every single time that I didn't listen, or I had that that's not going to happen to me kind of mindset, then that exact same thing happens to me, or something very similar. And it's always a negative. Someone told me that it wasn't going to end well for me, and I fucking did it anyway. Because I'm a hard-headed person. So whenever I would get in these modes where I'm in my revenge mindset, my eye for an eye mindset, and I think it's going to do something beneficial for me, all it does is give me a little bit of temporary satisfaction because I made them feel something similar to what I felt, whether that was the same thing or worse, and it did me absolutely no favors. All it did was bring me more trouble. In whatever way the trouble came, that's all it was more trouble. More intense situations, more of the same situations. It didn't matter. It was always the same result. The eye for an eye mentality begets the actual definition of insanity, because the actual definition of insanity is repeating the same patterns over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's what I was doing. I really thought that if I did this enough times, then enough people would hear that I did whatever it was to shut the situation down and hurt someone in the process, and it wouldn't happen anymore. But that's not how it went. It just got worse. There was more of the same, more extreme situations, whatever the case is. It did not bring me anything beneficial. Especially whenever it comes to a relationship, you can't have that kind of mindset. You can't be vindictive like that, because that's then going to feed into your relationship into a negative way, and it's going to bleed into a lot of other factors when it comes to your intimacy, your communication, even something as simple as sitting on the couch together and spending quality time together. That all gets affected whenever you have this vindictive eye for an eye kind of mindset. Someone can say whatever the fuck they want to me at this point where I'm at right now mentally. Someone could say whatever the fuck they want to me. And if it is somebody just spitting venom and they are just insulting the fuck out of me, I'm not going to react in the same way. I try to even make an effort at this point not to use certain words like fuck or just cursing in general. I really try not to do that whenever I'm in a heated discussion, because I would rather not have that escalate. You know what I mean? I don't like fighting. I don't like arguing. So if something like that is happening and a discussion turns into a disruption, whatever, I don't care to respond in a negative way, because I know that all that is going to do is hurt the relationship, and I don't want to do that. So I don't do that. The way that I see relationships now versus a couple of years ago even is a very different thing. Whenever I was the get you back kind of person, or I just didn't fucking care, I was a very different person. I was, to put it simply, I was a shitty partner. Like, I did whatever I wanted to do, and I didn't care what you did, but like, I wasn't going to let you tell me what I could and couldn't do. Now I think about things in a very different way, and I don't want to be that vindictive person. If my person has a boundary, I will listen, and I will take it into account, and I will make the change that's needed to happen, because I want the relationship to last. Like, if, let's say I was really big on going to the bar and hanging out with a bunch of drunk people and then driving home, and my person was not okay with that, and she decided to tell me, hey, I don't want you to do this anymore. Okay, done. It's that fucking easy, it's not complicated at all to cater to those kinds of things with your relationship. A couple of years ago, whenever someone would tell me, hey, I don't want you to do this anymore, I would ask why, and then like completely disregard it, because I didn't care. I didn't give a fuck. I did what I wanted to do, and you couldn't tell me otherwise. So thankfully, I've made a lot of positive changes, and I've learned that boundaries and controlling what I do are totally different things. Because there is a difference. There's a difference between, hey, I don't like this, and you can't do this. You know what I mean? There's a very big difference. I've thankfully made the changes to do better in that regard, because I would much rather the relationship thrive and grow, as opposed to it's constant conflict. The relationship just ends, or it gets messy, like, I don't want to do any of that, so I don't fucking do it. Because what is that going to do for me? What is that going to do for my relationship? Whenever it comes to friends these days, I haven't had to deal with this, but at least not in a couple of years. But if I were to deal with another situation that was anything similar to the one I've previously spoken about, I think I would make the effort to lay out the facts and leave it at that. If my friends were to believe whatever it is they chose to believe after I laid out the facts and make me out to be the bad guy or whatever the case is, all right, that's it. I'm leaving. Like, I don't care. Genuinely don't fucking care. Like, it's gonna suck because I'm losing friends, but in the same vein, I would rather lose friends and move on with my life and do better for myself, as opposed to holding on to that and using whatever emotion I'm feeling to now hurt a whole group of people because they chose to make me out to be a certain way instead of coming to ask me about it or whatever it is. I think that's what I would do at this point. I'm not going to say for sure that's what I would do because I haven't had to deal with the situation. But that's what I think I would make the effort to do at this point, because what's it going to do for me, 2 weeks down the line and this conflict is still going on and I am still dealing with my day to day and trying to keep my relationship going and growing. And on top of that, trying to deal with house shit and make sure that my work ethic is still good, and also trying to make sure my mental health is still good, and dealing with a situation that is draining as fuck. You know what I mean? It's not gonna do me any favors. So I just don't care. Just to recap, vindictiveness gets you nowhere. The eye for an eye mindset doesn't do anything. Going out of your way to have this revenge story for whatever situation it is doesn't do anything positive. It's all it's going to do is beget more negativity. And the more negativity that comes with that, the heavier the situation gets, and the more the situation escalates, and it turns into something that it shouldn't have been to begin with. Does that make sense? Trust me, I know. I don't need a degree to tell you that you can't live like that. I'm just a person who has done it and refuses to do it, and hopefully can help people get the fuck out of that mindset, or at least stay out of it. That's it. That's all I got for that one. I will see you in the next one. Bye.